Hi guys, Totallydubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the ModMic Wireless. Now this has come a long way. ModMic have brought out several revisions specifically of their wired mics. So over here is the 4.0 omnidirectional mic. And now we've got the wireless variant, and I was very much intrigued to see when I saw this announced to see how it would compare to its younger sibling. Now the microphone is not cheap, not to say the slightest. It's $120 in the US, whilst in the UK it can be found for around £110 to £130. To give you a comparison, the ModMic 4.0 can be found for around £50, and the ModMic 5 can be found for £67, whilst in the US the same can be found for around $70. So you can see there's a massive step up in terms of price. So in this review I'll be talking about that and seeing if that price difference is really warranted. So without further ado, let's get into the build quality and design, and then go obviously into the recording quality tests, and specifically comparing it to the original ModMic 4.0. So first of all, what you get inside the box. Now you've got the hard shell carrying case, which those who remember the original ModMic will recall its design, but as you can see it's a lot larger this time to accommodate the slightly thicker and bigger microphone. Within the case you will find a variety of things which I'll showcase in a bit, but you've got the same sort of fishnet design which allows you to put the microphone and any other cables, and then you've got a set of manuals which are always useful in terms of installing the ModMic correctly. Now in terms of what you get in the package, it's pretty standard, but as you can expect, it is a wireless device. So you've got a USB dongle which has 3 LEDs, and I'll showcase that in just a bit. These basically give you the indicator in terms of if it's a low battery, if it's muted, or alternatively when it is connected or disconnected. And a simple one button over here which communicates with the button over here, and therefore adds a Bluetooth aptX connector, a connection between the two, the device and the microphone. And the microphone itself has a foam tip at the end, but there's also quite interestingly, if my camera will pick it up, but obviously it's not going to, it's the omni and unidirectional modes. You can choose between the two, whichever you prefer, and I'll get into that in terms of the recording quality test. You can see over here you've got the magnet which is built in, but you will need to attach the other end to your headphones, which you can use via the provided pads which are included over here, and you can clean your headphones if you so wish as well. There's also a little cable management sort of cable tie that's included. Now the actual microphone itself, as you can see, is pretty strong, yet the cable itself is malleable. You can twist it around and position it to the way, or whichever way you wish. One thing I did find interesting in comparison to the original ModMic 4.0 is the fact that I usually use the ModMic 4.0 on my left hand side. This should be used on the right hand side, and the reason behind that is because of its micro USB port. You might be wondering, okay, what's so important about the micro USB port? Well, simply, if you do run out of charge, or you do want to have it plugged in while you're playing, in terms of battery life, it lasts around 12 hours, give or take. So bearing in mind, if you do several long gaming sessions, you're going to need to have it plugged in, and or if you forgot to charge it, and therefore you need to use the micro USB cable provided in order to do that. And therefore, if I just plug it in, what you'll be able to see is that you're going to have it kind of wired down. Now it does get a little bit bulky, and I'm not a big fan of Antline using a micro USB connector. I would have much preferred a USB-C connector because it's one, easier to plug in, and two, it's just a more modern day connector which can also be capable of achieving a faster charge. This charge actually took forever. I'm not gonna lie, it took a long time to charge. I was quite surprised to see it charging for several hours. So bear that in mind, that you're gonna need to charge it probably overnight if you're gonna use it wirelessly. So yeah, just something to bear in mind in terms of battery life. Now, as I mentioned, you've got a micro USB cable. You've also got a USB kind of extender, male to female. Now, Antline recommend that you plug in the dongle into here and have it, say, sitting on your desk. The reason behind that is because of the light indicators. The reality is you don't really need to see it. You can be plugged at the back of your computer, and I had it plugged at the back of my computer and didn't have any interference or any problems. However, in order to reduce interference and or for you to see the lights over here rather than have to take the microphone off and see if you're muted or not, it's just useful to have on your desk. So that's up to you to decide what you'd like. Now, finally, I want to talk about the actual build quality and the actual size of the thing. As you can see, it is a lot larger than the ModMic 4.0. Not only is it slightly longer, if I just compare the stem over here, it's a little bit longer. I mean, I guess I could put this, put the cable up over here, and it'll pretty much be it'll equate to the same sort of length. But the design of it is a lot thicker in every way. So first of all, by the microphone, you can see this is pretty chunky, pretty big, whereas this is relatively small and you're not going to really notice it. And on your headphones itself as well, this is a larger device. So it is going to add a little bit of extra weight. It's not really that heavy, something to be overly concerned about, but something that you should probably cater for if you've got very lightweight headphones or you've got a certain weight that you like on your head. Then this might add that extra little weight that you will dislike, or add that sort of kind of in your peripheral vision, that sort of design in front of you, in front of your head. So for example, if I do this, imagine you are looking through, you can see that this is going to be a lot more obvious in front of your head when you're gaming versus the original ModMic 4.0. So as promised, I just want to show you the LED. So if I were to switch it on, if I just hold it down very briefly, it'll start flashing blue and then be connected. If I want to mute it, I press it once and you can see a red LED indicator. Obviously, if this is on your head, then you're not going to see the LED indicator, whereas over here you can see the LED indicator. The last light is to indicate low battery, which I can't show you right now. Then I can unmute it and you can see it instantaneously picks up. And to switch it off, just hold it down for a little while and it switches off, and this then goes back into searching mode, searching for the ModMic. So at a certain button press, you're going to be straight away connected, so I wouldn't worry about that. And in terms of range as well, I was actually very impressed. The range between these two devices, I walked to around 10 meters, 12 meters in between my flat and between walls, and even closed some doors to try and add more blockages between the microphone and the receiver, and yet it actually picked it up flawlessly and perfectly. So I had no complaints in terms of range. So a great job Antlion for producing that. And we're back. Now everything you can hear is directly coming from the ModMic Wireless, and you could probably tell for yourself that the sound quality and recording quality is actually very impressive for a boom microphone. However, a lot of people will be wondering, okay, well, first of all, what is the omni and unidirectional modes? What on earth are they? Well, ModMic 4.0 had two different variants. The original, which was a unidirectional, then you had the newer version, which was omnidirectional. If I'm not mistaken, that was the order of their release. And a unidirectional essentially is kind of more focused on your voice, whereas the omnidirectional picks up more sound around you. So if you're going to be tapping away at a keyboard and you have, let's say, kids running around at the background, you're probably going to want to go for the unidirectional mode. However, the omnidirectional mode gives you much better sound quality. In my opinion, the sound is a lot fuller. It's a much it's got a better sort of frequency response, and it just sounds a little less muffled. To demonstrate it, the ModMic Wireless actually has both modes included within the microphone tip. So if I just switch the mode, and now you can hear the unidirectional mode. You can hear that sound is a little bit more closed, and it's not the frequency isn't just as wide. And yes, I don't have sounds coming left and right, and I know I'm not in the best sort of recording scenario because my room has a bit of echo around it, and I apologize for that, but I can't do anything about it. But the unidirectional mode will pick up and does pick up my sound a little bit better, rather than the kids playing in the playground, which, 8 floors down with my window open. You'll hear it with the omnidirectional mode. You won't hear it as much with the unidirectional mode. So hopefully that makes sense. Personally, I prefer the omnidirectional mode, even though you can hear a little bit more around you. It's just that the sound quality
is, in my opinion, a lot better. It just sounds a lot fuller. So that's just my opinion. Obviously, you can deal with whatever you think best via YouTube, the YouTube video, but what I'm trying to say over here is the ModMic 4.0 didn't have those modes, and ModMic 5 brought those two modes in terms of a switch, and therefore it's brought forwards in the ModMic Wireless. One thing I did also notice is the gain is a lot louder. It's a little bit more of a sensitive microphone, which is great because it actually picks up my voice a little bit more accurately than it did previously with the ModMic 4.0. So now let's talk about the comparison with the ModMic 4.0, and I think you'll be actually quite surprised to hear the differences. And now we're back with the ModMic 4.0. Now I appreciate the side is different, and that's because I had, as I said before, the mount on the left hand side always on the ModMic 4.0, but my voice doesn't really change. And the microphone position, I tried to make it in a way that it would kind of fit in the same sort of distance, bearing in mind that the stem, in my opinion, on the ModMic Wireless is slightly longer than the 4.0, so it just kind of stretches around a little bit better. But nevertheless, you can hear the sound quality, the recording quality, differences between the two. The ModMic 4.0, this is the omnidirectional mode. Omnidirectional 4.0 does sound a little more congested, does sound less open, and also does sound a little quieter. What I did is when I'm going to video render this, I'll adjust the gain to be absolutely identical, so you guys can actually perceive the gain sort of differences between the two microphones. I'm not tampering with anything other than just boosting the volume just to match with my camera that I've got there. So I must say the differences are pretty much, to me, night and day. It does sound a little bit more congested and a little bit more not as wide and as diverse as you'd like it. The differences are pretty pronounced between the two devices. Now ultimately, this is my verdict. What would I buy had I had the money? Now, if I had unlimited amount of money and I had really flagship headphones, such as, I don't know, you had a Sennheiser HD800 type thing, you had £1,000 plus headphones, get the ModMic Wireless. You're going to save yourself that trouble of an extra wire dangling down, and of course you're going to be a little bit inconvenienced sometimes because you need to charge it every 12 hours, but ultimately it's going to give you the best sort of experience. It's going to get you better recording quality. If, however, you're a normal type of person and you don't have unlimited amount of money for your headphones or your microphones, then in my opinion, sticking to the ModMic 4 or ModMic 5 would be a better option. Why, you might ask? Well, it's simple. If I'm calling in-game and I'm talking to people or going to a Skype conferencing call or video conferencing call for work, I don't really care about that added audio fidelity that I get between the two sort of devices. Sure, this is really good, but this is even better. Does that really matter? No, ultimately it doesn't. If, however, it is something important, well, again, get this one instead rather than the wide alternative. And secondly, it's the fact that this is never going to run out of battery. And also, I'm going to always see when it's muted or not. And I appreciate the Antlion have added the wireless dongle, but I don't really want to put that on my desk. I'd rather just have it at the back of my PC and not have to worry about it. Ultimately, I am trying to declutter my desk and get rid of wires. So why would I want some extra thing on my desk? So, in my opinion, if you're someone who owns headphones that cost under £200 or even £300, I would say just get a cheap microphone. When I say cheap, I mean £40 to £50 microphone, such as the ModMic 4 or the ModMic 5, and attach it to your headphones and boom, you've got yourself a headset. This, however, takes a little bit more thought. £120 odd or $120 odd dollars. You have to think, okay, do I really want to cut that wire in order to benefit for that wireless freedom? And bearing in mind that the wireless freedom only lasts for around 12 hours. And then when you have to charge it, or if you want to use it while you're charging, you're going to have a micro USB cable sticking in, which might not look the best or might not feel as comfortable as a very thin, slimline cable that Antlion had previously produced with the Antlion 4 or Antlion ModMic 5. So, in my opinion, it just really depends on you in terms of your setup. Personally, if someone gave me both devices and said, money's no object, what would you choose? I'd probably choose the ModMic Wireless because I like its recording capabilities. However, if I was given the chance of, okay, you've got 120 odd pounds to spend on a microphone, or alternatively you can add that money to get yourself a better DAC, or you can get yourself, I don't know, a better monitor or a better headphone in the future, and save that money in order to cater for that difference, like that extra little quality difference. I would say save yourself the money and buy this instead. So that's pretty much it. That's been my honest opinion. And before I go, I'm just going to quickly mute myself as you to speak, and so you can hear right there how the sort of the microphone deals with a mute functionality. The only reason I want to demonstrate that is because I didn't demonstrate it, and I know some people were wondering if it has like a kind of clicking sound or popping sound, and no, it doesn't. It has a fantastic little sort of wave in and out of the voice, and it's pretty instantaneous, and it works. Unmutes works, as you probably saw, really quickly. So no complaints there. Alright guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. Make sure you give it a like, comment, subscribe, and feed my belly, because apparently it's rumbling and I'm very hungry and I haven't had lunch. Alright guys, Totally Dubbed out. Bye bye.